Digimon Last Evolution KIZUNA is the 15th movie in the Digimon Adventure franchise. It follows the events of the Digimon Tri-series and focuses on the original Digidestined of the Digimon series. And it was heartbreaking. For many millennials like myself, and possibly Gen Z, there is a warm place in our hearts for the original Digimon series. We didn't see it as a Pokemon knockoff, but rather a similar anime that honestly had more layers in their story than Pokemon. With the release of this movie, The Last Evolution KIZUNA, it really does feel like a chapter of our lives has been closed for good. The film follows a much older Tai Yagami and the other Digidestined as they reunite to stop a new threat known as Eosmon, who is kidnapping the Digimon and the Digidestined from Earth to the digital world. The battle against this new threat was fun and interesting from an action point of view, but the film was incredibly bittersweet, and it's this that I want to explore in this video. So, no surprises, spoilers ahead. Rather than going through the story of the battle with Eosmon, I want to explore the overarching theme that is prevalent in Digimon Last Evolution KIZUNA, the realities of growing up and the challenges that come along with it. The entire original cast returns as young adults who are all in their own paths navigating through the complexities and uncertainties that come when entering adulthood. The first aspect we are exploring is the challenge of deciding what you want to do and be in life. As all form of schooling is now over, we can see the different career paths that Digidestined are choosing and the difficulties that come along with it, particularly through Tai and Matt. Tai in the opening scenes is at university, where his fellow students ask him about what his plans are after graduation. It's clear that Tai hasn't made any attempts on his thesis or looked for a job or an internship for post-graduation. In other words, he had no plans. He comes across defensive and is adamant that those are important to him. But his procrastination comes across as tardy to his classmates, who take pity on him or sees Tai as someone who isn't serious about their future. I believe this is a commentary on young people today being thrown into the responsibility of having to choose a career at such a young age and the anxieties that are associated with such a decision. In a mirrored fashion, Matt is also going through the same turmoil. A classmate tells Matt that there are rumors spreading about Matt potentially joining the defense force because he's a Digidestined, while he, the classmate in question, will carry on being a regular guy who's off to get a regular job. From Matt's face, we see a sense of uncertainty. My interpretation of this is Matt is unsure what he will be once he has graduated, where his life is heading, or which direction he should go. Does he also want to be a regular guy? This interpretation of mine is confirmed when Tai and Matt meet up for dinner. Tai asks Matt why he chose to go to grad school rather than get a job, to which Matt replied, even he doesn't know why, and if grad school is for him. Tai also shared that he doesn't have the motivation to push on because he doesn't know what he wants to do. It is lack of direction or end goal that's given him an existential crisis. There will be no more final school grade to achieve. It's now up to him to decide what and where he wants to be. And that's a lot to take for a young man. Another pressure the movie showcases is the inevitable comparison that young adults do with their peers. It's not uncommon for young people these days to benchmark themselves against their friends or classmates to see where they are in life and how that compares to their own lives, especially in the world of social media, where naturally people post about their milestones in their lives. School and university generally sets up the pace of how young people grow up, and what they need to achieve is standard for all. There are end-of-year exams, some exams are more important than others, but they all know what the end goal is. When it comes to moving into the real world, however, it becomes a free-for-all where the pace and the goal is set by the individual themselves rather than by an institution. When comparing with others, it is often common to feel depressed or feel that life is passing you by while others seem to have a grip of their careers and comes across as going somewhere in life. Matt showcases this when telling Tai that all their fellow Digidestins are so assured of their lives. For example, Joe being a doctor, Mimi having her own startup, and Izzy as a company president. It's rare in any show, let alone a children's anime, to talk about these themes that are so widespread in the youth today. The idea that you have to know what you want to do in your early 20s, and the added pressure that your friends and classmates who have chosen their careers comes across as though they have life figured out and you're left behind. Not only does this create an internal stress for people, but as Matt also exclaimed perfectly in this movie, there's a heaviness of realizing that their friends are moving on with their lives, which means they can no longer stay the same, and naturally, friends grow apart. By the way, slight side note, while Matt and Tai are talking in the restaurant, you could overhear a woman telling her friend about her partner losing his job, and that no one told her being an adult is so hard, and then she fainted. The fainting is either to do with the message and the stress of what's happening to her partner, or likely to do with the core storyline with Eosmon, which, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to go into in this video essay. But it was quite telling from the movie that the woman said these lines whilst Matt and Tai were discussing their conflict of what they want to do as working adults. The next theme I want to explore in Digimon Lost KIZUNA is the theme of growing up too fast and outgrowing the world around you. The film introduces us to Minoa Bellucci, a professor from America who researches into Digimon. She was introduced as someone who reached out to Izzy on taking down Eosmon. From Minoa, Tai and Matt learn that they are soon to lose their Digimon, Agumon and Gabumon, as it's a part of a phenomenon called maturity separation. Whilst this is at the despair of Tai and Matt, who refuse to lose their Digimon, there are signs in the movie that the separation has already begun in both in the digidestined universe as well as in the real world. Early in the film, we saw scenes where both Matt and Tai left their Digimons with the other digidestined, as those two go off to school, go to their part-time jobs, or when the two met up in the restaurants. Neither Agumon or Gabumon were with Matt or Tai in any of those scenes. Now we know as viewers this isn't through spite or lack of care, but rather the demands of adulthood requires their attention away from their Digimon. I also think it's a note from the movie of how adulthood forces you sometimes to have to let go parts of your childhood. In Matt and Tai's case, Gabumon and Agumon being the representation of their childhood. We see this initially as the film opens up and after the battle with Parrotmon in the opening sequences. TK, Kari, Tai and Matt regroup with their respective Digimons. TK and Kari and the 4 Digimons all agree to get some food, but Matt and Tai had to leave them all to get to school, including leaving Agumon and Gabumon with TK and Kari. Again, not have anything malicious, just life. Back to Minoa Bellucci, she tells Matt and Tai Digimon chooses their digidestins who are full of potential, and that the digidestin's growth is actually what helps their partner Digimon evolve. But as they live their lives and the choices they make that help them grow, the bond between their Digimon slowly disappear. As Matt and Tai are the eldest of the digidestined, they can see that the Digimon bond has a limited life left. Tai asks, does this mean we all have to say goodbye to our Digimon once we grow up? I feel this is a question in the film that asks us the viewers, in life, do we have to say goodbye to our childhood for us to move on and accept adulthood? I think the film leaves this as an open question, and I personally don't think there's a right or wrong answer. It's not an either one or the other. There are some parts you have to leave, but there are some things you can hold on to remind you of your childhood whilst you move on to adulthood. You can still be watching Digimon and writing video essays about it in your 30s and still be a full functioning adult. I think, or at least I hope I am. In terms of growing up, we get a wholesome moment where Agumon visits Tai's flat. For the first time apparently, which was a bit hard to believe. Agumon finds Tai's magazines or CDs, as young men typically have, and asks what they were. This is showing how Agumon represents the innocence of youth, while Tai is clearly growing up. He snapped at Agumon, wanted to see more of the stuff, and stated only grown-ups can look. But from the film, it seems that this outburst has made Tai realize that it is true. He is outgrowing Agumon. Tai extends his hand to Agumon and said, "We'll always be together," much to Agumon's confusion, who doesn't really understand what's going on, and why Tai just suddenly changed his demeanor. But to me, I feel it's Tai covering up his feelings, and denying what he really knows is inevitable, but wants to try and hang on with his best friend from his childhood. The theme of growing up is also explored through Minoa's character. We learn that Minoa was a child prodigy in science and research and was performing way above her years. We also learned that she was also a digidestined and had a Digimon called Morphomon from the age of 9. In the final battle scenes in the last Evolution KIZUNA with Minoa, we see shards of Minoa's past life, where she's talking to her best friend Morphomon about how everyone was avoiding her and that she can't wait to grow up so people wouldn't treat her like a weirdo. Then a scene came. Manoa, at the age of 14, comes to her home and tells Morphemon that she has skipped enough grades at school to start college and exclaimed her excitement to live her own life for once and conducting the research that she loves. And with that news, Morphemon turns, smiles with proudness and tears, and disappears. Morphemon disappeared because Manoa has achieved her full potential, albeit prematurely at the age of 14. It's an important lesson that the film is telling us, I feel, about growing up too fast. There are those who find childhood or teen years unfulfilling and crave to reach adulthood as soon as possible to get that freedom, that ownership. It's a common feeling among the youth who feel that they don't belong with their peers and outcasted and wants to escape into adulthood where they think things might get better. But in Manoa's case, this led to Morphemon leaving her a lot earlier than she clearly wanted, as it drove her to insanity and started her journey as the antagonist of the film. Manoa grew up too fast because of a desire to be treated like an adult. To me, it's a cautionary tale for the youth. You may want to grow up fast into adulthood, maybe to escape the hardships of childhood, or just because the idea of adulthood, or possibly the freedom of adulthood, is exciting. But don't grow up too fast. Don't be so eager to rush into adulthood. It will come. It's inevitable. Enjoy the moments where you can, of childhood and the things that only children can enjoy. You will never ever get those moments back, no matter how hard you try. And when you do move into adulthood, it will be those moments that you will cherish and look fondly back on. This, I feel, is a lesson to learn from Manoa's predicament. Which brings me to the final part of the video and the final scenes of Digimon Last KIZUNA. Eosmon was defeated by Agumon and Gabumon, evolving into their ultimate forms. This also meant Matt and Tai have hit their full potential. As we mentioned earlier, Digimon evolves based on the growth of their digidestined. And we see this growth of the two boys during the last battle. Tai and Matt reassured Manoa that her choices doesn't necessarily have to be seen as bad. We have to live with our choices, and that is what makes us human. That our lives are not preordained. They can influence the future, and they will never give up fighting for the side of good. This was a clear growth in both Matt and Tai. Regardless what choice they make for their future and their careers, what is most important for them is to stay on the path of good and continue to fight for it. But with this and this growth, after the final battle with Manoa and saving her from her guilt, we come to the next scenes. Agumon and Tai hanging out at a pier looking beyond the river, and Matt and Gabumon at a balcony looking at the city. As the boys stare at the digi devices, both Tai and Matt know that time is up. Agumon asks Tai if he remembers the first time they met, and also looks at Tai in awe, as though he is proud of the young man Tai has become. It's as though Agumon is a caring parent, who is proud to see the journey their child has gone through as they enter adulthood. Gabumon sees Matt has a harmonica, and Gabumon wants to hear a song, to which Matt plays Run with the Wind, a throwback to Season 1 of Digimon. The harmonica music is a reminder of their shared past and the unbreakable friendship they share. As Matt plays, there is a solace in the scene. We've all accepted the bittersweet end. Both Gabumon and Agumon ask, "What will you do tomorrow?" To which both Tai and Matt answers, "No one knows. No one knows what tomorrow may bring. Tomorrow, we can." And then Gabumon and Agumon finally disappear. Both Matt and Tai break down in tears as they realize tomorrow will be them on their own without the Digimon, which I have to give credit to the creators of the film for. This was a really impactful scene that wasn't ruined by a cliche crying scream that I'm used to seeing in anime, but rather a silent yet painful cry from both young men that we can, as the viewer, understand and emphasize. The sentence, "No one knows what tomorrow may bring," is an indication that Matt and Tai are ready to move to adulthood. They will never know what will happen next, and I believe it's the film telling us this uncertainty will always exist. As we go into adulthood, we must embrace it rather than fear it, so long we are on the side of good and our hearts are in the right place. It will be lonely to some extent, as portrayed as Matt and Tai realize they no longer have their Digimon by their side. But this is the hard path of growing up. It also ended with a bittersweet line stating, "This is how we arrived at the entrance to adulthood." The Digimon have left, and Tai and Matt are ready to enter the next chapter of their lives. I would love to hear you all in the comments about your interpretation of the theme of growing up in Digimon Last Evolution KIZUNA, and how have you experienced, if you have, from the making that transition from childhood into adulthood. When I decided to write this video essay, my draft title was Digimon Last Evolution KIZUNA, a lesson in growing up. But as I wrote this essay and watched the film over a few times, I realized the film isn't teaching us about growing up, but highlighting the realities of growing up. That these are the feelings and thoughts that go through every young person that is entering adulthood, and everyone will have a different path to take. I personally related to Matt, where he went to grad school because he really doesn't know what he actually wants to do. I similarly also took a master's degree after university because I felt I wasn't ready to decide what I want to be for the rest of my life at the age of 21. Even after the master's degree, that decision wasn't clearer. It's hard for any young person to make that decision. And in Digimon Last Evolution KIZUNA, they showcase that struggle very well. The themes of growing up explored in the film were incredibly relatable, as it's so prevalent among young people around the world today. The producer of Digimon Last Evolution KIZUNA, Kinoshita Yosuke, stated, "As we go through life, I believe that it's not only success and joy that makes you grow as a person, but also overcoming failure. Hard and sad realities are what keeps us alive. I'm sure there will be a lot of obstacles in the future, but let's go live our lives forward strongly." This is the message that we are trying to convey. I think Digimon Last Evolution KIZUNA conveys this perfectly. The film doesn't tell you how exactly you should deal with each difficult decision when you come to adulthood. To me, the film is stating we will all walk this path at some point in our lives. It's not an easy or always a happy time. Friends will go in different directions, and the realities of adulthood will start to appear. It will be difficult, and there will be a strong element of uncertainty. But you're not alone. We all go through it, and to some extent, the film gives reassurance that it will be okay in the end. Enjoy what you have now. Make sure you're on a path of good, and then let tomorrow come. Because we don't know what tomorrow will bring. Thanks for watching this video essay on Digimon Last Evolution KIZUNA. I love this film, and it's now becoming one of my favourite anime films of all time. If you have seen it yourself, please let me know what you guys think of it in the comments, and also just the themes of it. And I hope to see you all in the next video. Remember to like, comment and subscribe. See you guys there.